What's going on, rejects? You ever wanted to record your own motovlog but have no idea where to start? Maybe you're stuck choosing the right equipment, or maybe you just don't know how to set it up on your helmet. And what about editing? Isn't that complicated? It doesn't have to be. Let's get right into it. All right, guys. So everybody's setup is gonna be a little bit different, but it all starts with what's on your helmet. So for me, I have the GoPro Hero 13 right here on the front with a chin mount, adhesive mount on the front. And then that goes into a GoPro audio 3.5 millimeter mic adapter. And then from there, I have a Cablelux microphone attenuator going into a Sony stereo lavalier mic right here on the inside. And all the wires are kind of kept neat right around this front part right here so that it's not running through the back and side of your helmet, because that could cause discomfort in the back of your head and side of your head and stuff when you're wearing your helmet. So it's all right here neat in the front. Now guys, that's just the setup that I choose to use in my helmet. You can obviously choose to go with a wireless microphone setup that can either connect to your phone and record audio through that, or some of them connect directly to the newer GoPros. The reason I don't do that personally is I feel more comfortable having it directly wired into my GoPro. So that way I know my audio's there. I don't have to line up audio tracks with the video tracks. To me, this is the simplest way, because I did do wireless for a little while, and right now I'm recording through a wireless through my phone. But in terms of ease of use, I think the wired setup is where it's at. The only issue that I had with this setup is my microphone was too loud inside of my helmet. So that's where this Cablelux microphone attenuator comes in. That means it reduces the gain volume of your microphone before it hits the GoPro, because if you don't do that, you will get clipping and popping and all kind of bad sounds you just really don't want in your motovlogs. Audio is a very big deal in making a good video. Now another question comes up. Do we go GoPro or do we go DJI Action? I think, me personally, if I had to do it over again, I would go DJI Action camera. The reason I say I would go DJI if I had to do it over again with my wired setup is because DJI has that gain controller built directly into the software of the camera. The Cablelux microphone attenuator that just adds one more wire and one more thing you have to mount onto the side of your helmet would not be required with the DJI Action 5. Those have a built-in gain controller inside the camera. I really wish GoPro would get with the times and do that. Now, as I'm going through this video, if you guys find any of this information helpful and you want to start motovlogging like this, I will be leaving links in the description for you to purchase some of these items. Those purchases will help support me, so I would greatly appreciate it if you would use my links if you're deciding to do this. All right, guys, so I wanted to get a little bit more of a close-up of how I have my helmet set up. So I really love the Chin Mount brand. They have helmet-specific mounts that conform directly to your helmet with a 3M adhesive. And that thing is not going anywhere. That is a solid attachment point. Then that goes to a couple of extensions going up to the GoPro to get it to where it faces the right direction when you're riding. And those can come with, you can get those with the chin mount order. And I have this doorway that allows the USB to be used with the door closed. This will go into the side of the GoPro, and this goes to my microphone attenuator. And then my microphone attenuator is taped to the bottom of my GoPro mic adapter. And all that is Velcroed to the side of my helmet. So, you know, this gets a little bit like time consuming and bulky figuring all this stuff out, but it's just kind of what's required with this setup. And then all my extra cabling is just running right here around the GoPro mount. That's kind of a cool thing about these mounts, is they have extra space to kind of wrap stuff around there. And then, like I said, my microphone is simply Velcroed in to the front of the helmet right there. Now this gives me a pretty good result, and I've done some testing with different locations and stuff, but this just is the easiest for me and gets good enough results for me. Now guys, if you do want a cheap wireless setup for your microphone, These Hollyland Lark A1 mics, I've got one on me right now, one here in the charging case. These are really good quality mics. I feel like for what they are, they're like, I think they're 30 bucks on Amazon. And again, I just Velcroed this right into my helmet as well whenever I was using it. But now I just use these to record through the phone audio. Again, that will require you lining up audio tracks with your video tracks. And now usually that comes with a clap, you know, you clap and then you line the claps up with each other. That's just kind of how it's got to be done. All right, guys, that's enough yapping off the bike. Let's get out here and go for a ride, man. So, you know, that's the whole setup. Obviously, the GoPro is going to be the most expensive part of that setup. This car is driving the wrong way down the road. That's really cool. The GoPro is going to be the most expensive part of that setup. Either one of those mics is about 30 bucks, the wired one or the wireless set. Maybe the wireless is 40 bucks or something. But all in all, not too terrible. And even after you watch this video, you still might have some trial and error with what kind of mic placement you're going to use, any other additional equipment you might want to use on your videos. And I'm still pretty new to this. This is only going to be my 10th long form video on the channel. The one thing I'm really wanting to get for the future is a 360 camera, because I just believe that those add so much depth and value to the videos as a whole. So that'll be in the future. Like I said, everything you don't have to start with everything. You start with what you got, right? You could have an old 6-year-old GoPro laying around and throw that on your helmet with a $30 mount and a $30 microphone. Or you can go to Facebook Marketplace and get I don't know how much they are on Marketplace, 150, 200 bucks maybe for a used camera. Or you can go all out and spend, I think I spent about, about 300 or 400 for a new GoPro. I mean, it's all just whatever you want to make of it, right? Now, after this ride is over with, I'm going to head back to the house and I'm going to be going over the editing software that I use. And I'm not going to go super in detail with how to edit. I just want to give you some of the basics, right? Something you can work with. And then I will link the channel that I often find myself going to for editing advice. There's several good ones out there. You know, you'll have no problem figuring out how to make all this stuff happen if you want to make it happen. Why is this light staying red for so long? All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this. The editing software that I use is called DaVinci Resolve. It has a lot of great features. It's what a lot of professionals use the paid version of, but here we're just gonna be using the free version of it. So if you scroll down here, you will just put some information in right here and choose what you want to download it for. And this will link your details just through DaVinci Studios, and you'll get a free download. Now, once you get that downloaded and you open it up, you'll see a screen similar to this. You will have, no projects in here, obviously. So what you want to do is go in here and create a new project and name it whatever you want to name it. For me, I'm already working on this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up the one that I'm working on. So a couple of key things with DaVinci Resolve. You're going to start basically every project with your media pool up here in the top left. It's pretty much what you'll start on. And what you'll do here is you'll bring in any files that you want. So these are going to be the videos that I recorded earlier and stuff like that. So basically you'll just take them from here and drag them into here, right? Now once they're in there, that's just what you have to work with, right? So then you will drag those down into the timeline, and that's how you create this here. So just to give you an idea of the order that I go into with this is, as you'll see, all these little sections right here, these are where I've cut out something. So that I just kind of trim down the fat of it and cut out the mess ups and mistakes and all of that, So the way you do that is we're down here, right, on the cut tool, on the cut tab. So what we do is if we say we want to cut out this riding footage right here, I'll just hit this little scissors over here, right? And then I'll click the footage I want to delete and hit the delete key on my keyboard. And now anything you do in DaVinci Resolve, you can Control Z to undo. So see, I undid the delete and I undid the cut. Now you see, we'll go through, figure out, you know, I'm just riding from this red light right here. You know, you decide what you want to keep and what you don't. I tend to cut out stuff where I'm not talking. Obviously, this is fine for me right now because I can talk over it. But yeah, obviously from here, it's all up to you. Do you want to make this a... Damn, truck. Do you want to make this... You know, you can make this whatever... See how I start and stop like 3 times trying to make a thought happen? That's pretty common for me. So that's where all my cuts come from, right? I cut out stuff like that and determine what I want to keep. I think I can honestly cut out that whole thing. But yeah, obviously... See, that's me actually starting the thought right there. So I'm going to cut out all of that. But yeah, obviously from there, it's all up to you. A whole lot more dead zone here. The one thing I cannot tell you in this video is what to record. Because that's on you, right? You've got to decide that. Do you want to record kind of cinematic videos, just riding around? Or do you want to record... See, something like that, I would cut this out. Just riding around? Or do you want to record how-to videos? Or do you just want to ramble on the mic like I like to do sometimes? I see I have a big dead zone right here, so I go ahead and cut it in advance. And you can use the arrow keys to swipe through faster. As you see, I'm still pretty bad at talking about shit. See, I would cut that. As you see, I'm still pretty bad at talking about shit, because I just ramble. But that's part of it. You got to get used to talking pretty much to yourself. That's a big key point right there. That's kind of all motovlogging is, right? But a big piece of advice is, I mean, I'm talking to you guys, right? Whoever's watching this video, that's who I'm talking to. I'm not really talking to myself out here. I'm not completely crazy. Just a normal person talking to people on the internet that don't know who I am and I don't know who they are. But I'm not crazy, you're crazy. No, that motherfucker's crazy. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get this back to the house before I really turn crazy. And I'll show y'all just a little bit of editing on how to make this all come together. Alright, and obviously we're here now, right? So I'm cutting out, that's the end of the video. I just had some extra footage on the end there. But basically I've touched on, the cut tool. That's pretty much a big part of everything. And transitions. So transitions, let me see if I can add a transition in that actually makes sense. Well, I've already added them. See, they're right here. Like, if you go back to this point in the video. Alright, guys. So, you know, it's easy as that. You literally just take this transition. I can delete that one. And you literally just drag and drop whatever you want on top of there. Alright, guys. So, it's really not that complicated. That's like bare minimum. You have the trash cut out, and you have some smooth transitions in there. You know, that's bare minimum. Now, what I like to do otherwise, from time to time, is go to the titles tab up here. So here's an example of something I might use the titling for, right? I've got this clip right here talking about... Now, as I'm going through this video, if you guys find any of this information helpful, and you want to start motovlogging like this, I will be leaving links in the description for you to purchase some of these items. Those purchases will help support me, so I would greatly appreciate it if you would use my links if you're deciding to do this. So that clip right there talking about links in the description, you know, I might add a, you know, just a basic title. So another thing to take note of in DaVinci is anything on top is what's going to be displayed over this, right? If these were flip-flopped, this title wouldn't show up. But if since the title's on top, it's going to display over this video. And then you just drag this out to as long as you want it to be. I will be leaving links in. I really just wanted to start right there, right? Talking like this, I will be leaving links in the description for you to purchase some of these. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so that's gonna be how long my title box is, and it'll just say links in the description. And so, obviously, this isn't really where you want it to be. So you come into settings over here. This is kind of how you determine a lot of things about your videos, right? So you can take the settings of this and you can make that bigger. And then you can drag this around the X and Y axis to display where it's at. Now, I don't like the white text right there. So I'm going to go with yellow. You know? So that's easy, you know, title work right there. As well as a little bit of just describing how this whole system works. Now, another kind of cool thing about DaVinci, something I did right here actually, and this might be getting a little bit into depth with things, but it might be something you want to look into. So here I am talking over the screen recording, and then I wanted this little cool effect right here, right, where I made the video shrink down into what you're seeing. I like that effect, right? So the way I did that is this thing right here. So you have to click this file that you want, and again, this is on top of this bottom line, so that's going to be the file that displays over top of it. So when you click this and you go into your keyframes, so anytime you want a keyframe is a designated frame where an option takes effect, right? So the way that this works, here's my keyframe right here. You see my zoom and my position are keyframes here. And you'll see these numbers. So what I did is I played it. The one that I'm working on. And then this is my last keyframe. So the way you do something like that is by you just simply choose where you want it to start. So that's just your baseline. Everything is 1 and 0 right there. And then when you you go to this point in the frame, and you can click here to access your keyframes, and you would just drag these around to where you want them to be. And then it'll automatically do that smooth transition for you right there. I just wanted to show one more time of the way this keyframe transition works. So again, say something like this where, so that's where this cable lux, I'm mentioning this product, right? Maybe I want it to start big like this, right? So it starts right here. So you click your zoom and your position right there. And then that's going to be what you can change by the next time you want it to do what it does. So say halfway through you want it to be smaller and down here in the bottom left corner. Now that automatically makes that your second keyframe. So what's going to happen is as you play it, it'll shrink down there to the bottom corner. So that's just kind of what I use it for. Obviously you can mess with rotation angles and stuff like that. You know, there's all kind of little stuff you can do in here. But you know, the simplest is just kind of this zoom position change thing. I think that adds a lot to a video, just to keep your eyes kind of focused on something, you know? Now, this is just an absolute bare minimum of what there is to do in DaVinci. I really don't use this page much. This is the edit page. It can be kind of useful to adjust audio levels and stuff. I really don't know what else to do with it besides that, but you can also do that in this page right here. So the other thing I'll use from time to time is the Fusion page. You can get some really cool effects in here. This is the page that you have to use if you want to do like green screen effects, stuff like that. The color page has some pretty cool stuff. Like if you want to learn how to blur your speedometer, for instance, you know, that's in this page. But I'm not going to get into all of it. I just wanted to show that this is kind of, there's a lot in DaVinci Resolve that you don't necessarily have to learn, but as you do it, you can just learn more and more, and it will make your videos better and better as you go on, right? Now, the last step to all of this is to go in here, and you want to go into here. This is your deliver page. So this will render your video and export it to wherever you choose. I have this folder called Finished Motovlogs, so I save them all to there. So you want to render it as a single clip and make sure the export video and export audio are both selected. And all of these settings I haven't messed with. I just, whatever they are is what they are. I don't know what any of this means. And then you just add to render queue, and then it'll come up on the top right up here. And once you hit render all, then your video will now be, it'll start to work on rendering it. This is gonna say it takes about 2 minutes to render the video, and this will make it a seamless video into your designated save location. And that is the video you will then upload to YouTube or wherever you choose to upload. Guys, if y'all have found any of this information helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you liked the video. Until next time, y'all take it easy and ride safe out there. We'll see you.